All right, you're listening to 91.5 WUML Lowell Blues Deluxe. And it's my honor again to have Dana Fuchs with me. Hello, Dana.
Hi, it's nice to be back.
How are you?
I'm good.
Busy. You're a busy person.
It's gotten a little crazy, but hey, I'm grateful to be busy because the alternative is not great.
Well, let me tell you, the first time I saw you live was at the White Mountain Boogie and Blues Festival a while ago.
Wow, that was a while ago.
And you just killed it. You came out there and just let them have it. It was great. I went, wow. I had never seen you before. I'd heard your music, but you came right out of there. You came right out of the gate and let them have it. It was great.
Oh, thank you.
And I had never seen you before, so I didn't know what to expect. But it's like you leave it all on the stage, is what I see.
Thank you. It's kind of the only way I'm comfortable doing it, I think. Sort of an invitation. Okay, if I spill my guts, you guys got to do it back in one way or another out there.
Well, you started out when you started out. You grew up in Florida, right, for a little bit,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then moved to New Jersey, or was there any other place in between?
I had a 6 month stint in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went to stay with a friend when I was 17. Um,
You're young.
yeah, I left home young, and then I went. That led to nowhere. And then I went to Las Vegas with another friend. I absolutely hated it, and that was about 8 or 9 months. And then I came back to Florida, and the goal was always to get to New York. I came back to Florida and had a little job at a pizza parlor at the local mall. And the owner's daughter lived up north during the school year with her mom in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And so she was there for the summer working, and I got to know her and we became friends. And then come fall, she was heading back up with her mom to New Jersey. And I said, "Hey, can I catch a ride? Because that's close enough to New York for me." And they gave me a ride. The mom was Italian, and they fought in Italian the 3 day drive. I'll never forget. I was sandwiched in the back of their luggage.
So you ended up in New Jersey.
I ended up in New Jersey, just trying to make my way into the city, taking any little odd job I could, coming in for auditions. Eventually landed a gig at a bar and started found an apartment, an affordable apartment on the Lower East Side, and kind of kicked it off. Going to all the blues jams were the thing then. They don't really do those in the city anymore. And it was just,
No, they used to a lot.
oh my God, that's how I met all the musicians that I feel like trained under. Papa Chubby, my now music partner of many years, John Diamond, was playing with Papa Chubby. He was playing with a bunch of other guys, some of whom sadly have passed away, but the Holmes brothers, I would go hang out with these guys every week. And I just got quite an education. I was 19, I had a fake ID. And
And then you went out on your own, right? For a
yep,
while.
yep.
How was that to go out on your own and not knowing what you were walking into?
You mean as far as the music?
Yeah, as far as the music.
Well, I partnered up with John Diamond, who became a dear friend, and his family became like sort of my extended family here. And I started working with John. John was a freelance guitar player in all these different bands, and he also would put a band together and hire these female singers. And I said, I don't really want to do that. I want to create my own project. So he said, okay, let's start meeting every week and pick the songs. He's like, you have a good instrument, but you do not know how to sing blues. And he sort of made me listen to every blues singer that he was playing for me. He had a crazy vinyl collection, and I would listen. I got turned on to Etta James, Lou Rawls, all these greats. It's too many to name. And
Hmm.
I would sit and listen. And I went on a diet for all these people, went and got their CDs. And that was at a time when everybody still bought CDs. And yeah, I just sort of immersed myself. Well, I didn't sort of immerse myself. I totally immersed myself in the music and fell in love. And then I just started sitting in at jams where John was playing, or John, whatever gig he would have. And Papa Chubby uh, would let me come up and sing with him. And by then, the club owners started to take me a little more seriously. And I made a demo and shopped it around, begged for gigs, and got my first gigs at Manny's Car Wash was one of the rooms, Chicago
Yeah.
Blues, uh, of all the Bleecker Street gigs, and before we knew it, we had quite a big following, and it was like barely a year into it, and I realized like, okay, I'm not singing my own stories here. I'm singing these powerful stories that I didn't live. I kind of felt weird singing about Tobacco Road, and that's when it really
Well,
occurred to me I had to write my own stuff.
that's how
And
you start, though. You gotta do the covers to start, and then you figure out how you're gonna write your own music, right?
exactly. And that's where your own, because I remember I would be so frustrated. People would say, yeah, 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 you got to find your style. What's your style? I was like, how do you find your style? And, once you really learn from the greats and then you start not copying them, you start interpreting their songs. Um,
You do it your own. You make it your own
exactly.
after that.
Exactly. There was a Randy Newman song, two Randy Newman songs I used to do, one called Guilty.
I know
And
that song. That's a great
oh,
song.
such a great song. I'm gonna put that on a recording someday. It's such a brilliant song. Um, but yes, like I would find what were kind of obscure covers that only real music fans knew of, or musos, as we say, and
But
I would
that's
start.
that's the best part is when you play an obscure song that no one's ever heard, and they get to hear it for the first time. They never dug into the record to hear it,
No,
and you take it and you bring it back to them and say, "Hey, this is like a new song."
exactly, and you make it your own.
Right.
And that really started to inform, where my writing was heading. And then as I started writing my own songs, my big old classic rock influence started to come out
Hmm.
because I'm the youngest of six kids. So I grew up hearing all of that stuff that was before my time, but that they grew up on, my older brother and sister especially. And, then I really, my more rock side started to come out. And that's funny enough, when the producers and the musicians in the band for Love Janis saw me and they were like, oh, she should do this part. And they kept asking me to audition, but I was just signing with this little label and I wanted to do my own thing. And then I saw the show. They were like, please just come see the show and think about it. So I saw the show, fell in love with it, was blown away, went in a few days later to audition and started 9 days later.
You're kidding me? That quick?
Actually, yeah, because I remember I had 8 days to learn 19 Janis songs and 52 pages of dialogue, and I didn't do anything but study that script and learn those songs for 8 days straight, and it was a blast. I'll just never forget the first night I got up there. The mix of nerves and excitement. It was crazy.
So what'd you know about Janice before you did that? Did you do a deep dive into her career, or did you already know?
I didn't know much. I have to say,
You're kidding me.
I really didn't. That was what was so,
Wow.
and I had been compared to her. And when I first started learning, I knew the hits. I knew enough of the hits, Bobby McGee, Piece of My Heart. Like I didn't know her whole life. I knew, the drug overdose. I knew the gist, but I didn't know what a deep, brilliant, introspective thinker she was. And that's what was so brilliant about this show, because it was two actresses. I played the rock and roll Janice, who did the music interviews and did all the performances. And then there was another girl on stage who did all of the monologues based on
Yeah.
letters Janice wrote
Yeah.
home. So, that was my deep dive into Janice. And it was interesting. The director told every one of us, in the band, and the girls doing the acting, don't try to copy the singers. I don't want you to copy Janice. I want you to embody what she embodied when she sang this music. So I thought that was such brilliant direction, because it just gave us permission to sort of be ourselves while stepping into the shoes of this icon and not trying to mimic her.
A little nervous about that, I bet, a little bit. Not
Yeah,
not
and
knowing how you were going to present it yourself, right?
Exactly. And I remember when I was learning the songs, I was like, Jesus Christ, my voice is an octave lower than hers. And the music director pushed me. He's like, no, you're going to get there. You're going to get there. Um, and I was doing 6, 7 shows a week and not talking to anybody for 9 months just so I could pull this off vocally.
So, do you know if Janice's sister saw that at all?
No, I believe one of the Joplins was against it. I don't know if it was Laura or Michael, and one was for it. But I know one of them did see it, but before I was in it.
Wow.
And one of them really approved. One did not. I want to say it was Laura that did not approve, the sister. I'm not sure why. That's why I hear the movie never really ever could fully be made because the Joplin estate just didn't want.
Didn't want it.
Yeah.
So let's move to Across the Universe. That's the next big thing you were involved with, or a little bit later on.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So, Janis closed, I guess, I think it was 2002. I did the last show. I was the last Janis. And 2 years later, I was on tour in Finland, funny enough. I was only playing New York and Finland at that point. It was very strange, but I got an email that Julie Taymor, the director that I knew of from Lion King, and I had seen the movie Frida, was wanting me to come in and do a session for her. I was like, okay. And
Well, how
I
did they
just
know? How did they know about you? Did they find out you were out playing,
through,
doing your own thing?
I'm glad you asked because it was through Love Janis. Apparently, Julie knew one of the production managers of the show and said, hey, I need a singer with a strong voice who isn't going to get tired. I want that like Janis. And they recommended me. So Julie came to a show I had at the living room downtown. It was just an acoustic show. And I almost canceled because I was sick as a dog. And I had promised this guy that was coming to other shows that I did, a film student, he was supposed to come that night and film and interview me for a project he was doing at NYU Film School. And I couldn't let him down. So I dragged myself there so sick. And Julie was in the audience. And so the next day she emailed me, her office emailed me, Julie Taymor wants to meet you. So I went and met her and she had me sing this crazy demo based on Ma Kali, the goddess of death and destruction. And she was working on, it had nothing to do with Across the Universe. She was working on trying to get this film and she wanted me to do the demo. She had hoped Tina Turner would play the part. And when I was singing, I just remember watching her in the control room laughing hysterically. And I was a little self-conscious. And then she asked me to come out and she said, do you mind if I call my videographer? I'd like to video you. I really love, she's like, you remind me of Joe Cocker, the way you move when you sing. And I didn't realize I was moving in any weird way, but it was such a hard song to sing. It was like all this crazy, and I was just putting my whole body into it. So that's what led to Across the Universe. So, I said, sure. They paid me well for the demo. And she's like, I have something in mind for you. It's probably going to be a year before you hear from me. And who knows, you may never hear from me. And it was about a year later. I had just gotten home from Finland and I had an email. Julie Taymor would like, to talk to you. So they sent me the script for Across the Universe, just a few lines, the scene where I'm fighting with my guitar player, which was very easy to portray, and wanted me to sing Joe Cocker's with a little help from my friends. And so that's what I went in. I brought my own keyboard player because I was like, I'm not using a Broadway dude for this. I'm not using somebody, because they can tend to be a little stiff. No offense, they're brilliant. But I brought in my own guy and I did
And
the audition.
she said, okay.
Oh yeah, I think
Well,
I think she liked it. Because I had no idea. I was like, this is not my world, the world of acting and Hollywood. So I didn't really know. So I didn't feel all this pressure. I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll go sing, read these lines. It sounds cool because it was called the Untitled Julie Taymor Project. So I had no idea what it was yet. And I did my lines. I yelled with a Southern accent at my guitar player, and then I sang with a little help from my friends. She asked me to do the scream from the song that Joe Cocker does. I did that. She was like, great, thanks for coming in, Dana. And that was it. And I was like, okay, whatever. I think I did pretty good. I wasn't embarrassed by my audition. That was good enough for me. And then the casting agent kept calling me saying, "We need you to come in. We're trying to find JoJo, the boyfriend of me, and we just need you to come in and, have so he has somebody to work against." And they kept doing that. And I was like, "Man, I don't even know if I have this part yet." And I'm going in for free like every week for them to try out. So I finally asked the casting agent, and I said, "Can you tell me when I'll find out who got the part of Sadie?" He's like,
You did.
"You're Sadie. What are you talking about? You didn't know?" So weeks had gone by. I had the part. Julie thought they told me. They thought Julie told me.
No one told you, but you had the part.
But I had the part.
So how'd that make you feel after all the stuff you've gone through? Coming up, spending all that time in the city, playing in clubs. You end up on Broadway. You end up in films. That must have been something.
It was pretty exciting and surreal. Um, there was pressure, of course, making a film like that. Once I really understood what we were in for, and the budget of
Yeah.
this thing, and T-Bone Burnett and Bono and Joe Cocker and Eddie Izzard, I was like, "Oh shit!" Um, but I remember the cast and I. We got very close, and we were all relatively unknown, except Evan Rachel Wood was really up and coming, but she was the only one who had any kind of notoriety other than the big cameos. We would all just say, "I can't," because we did live rehearsals for 3 months in Times Square before we started filming. We just do these readouts, and it was the time of my life. We all just kept saying, "I can't believe we're gonna get paid for this."
Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah.
That's good. So you made it further. I bet you never imagined that you'd ever be in those positions.
No, I didn't. But then once you're in them, you know, you think, okay, now I want more of something on this level. And, that's a lot of luck, a lot of fate, a lot of hard work, a lot of talent. And
It doesn't
at
come
the time,
around often, does it?
no, it really doesn't. I had the opportunity. I signed with a big film agent just because that's what we were all supposed to do after getting this part, all these unknowns. So we were all like really pursued by these top Hollywood film agents. And I signed with one and they said, "Okay, now you got to come out to LA, live here for at least a year and go on auditions every day." And at the same time, I was getting offered to tour in Europe doing my own music.
That
And it was
that
a
that's
no.
not going to happen. You're not going to California. You're going to tour
No,
in Europe,
exactly.
and that's what you've been doing.
And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah.
There have been moments on the road when it's like, it's long months out. At the time, I would go out for months. You got to get on stage, sick, sad, no
Well,
matter what.
this
But
is
I
the
thought,
first time I'm going to have an opportunity to talk to someone that has young kids and brings them on the road with you.
yes, it's logistically sometimes a nightmare, but it would be a heartache not to. So I take the logistical. I've gotten used to it. I got a groove. It's like I can't leave them. No way.
How do they like it?
They love it.
Do
Too
they?
much. They miss school. They get back. It's all about the backstage for my kids and the different foods in different countries. They just in Germany. We haven't been in Germany since my 9.5-year-old was 2, and then the pandemic came. We haven't been to Germany since. So he discovered his love for Bockwurst,
See that?
and
And
they get all kinds of
he
treats.
gets to see mom perform. He gets to hang out backstage. What more would you want, right?
Yeah, they love it. They get to miss a little school.
Well, I know a little secret. Kevin told me
What's
your
that?
son plays drums.
Yes, he is an aspiring drummer. My 6-year-old now is having a piano lesson as we speak, and my 9.5-year-old has been learning drums, and he's got some raw talent, and it's killing me because when he was a baby, my husband gave him this little onesie that said, "I'm going to be a drummer," or something like that, and I said, "No, drummers have it the hardest. I don't want it." And now here we go.
Yeah, and he said he plays bass with him. So
Yep.
he's gonna be your band leader one day. Watch
He,
out.
he just might. Oh boy, careful what we wish for.
But you never thought of that either when you had the first one, Aiden, right?
Yes, exactly. No, I didn't. In fact, I was so exhausted from life on the road that I thought, I hope he chooses something different.
Yeah, but guess what? You're probably glad he hasn't, because he can go on the road with you and learn from all of it.
It's true. It's very true.
And he's got music in him. You're his mom. He's got music both on both sides, actually.
Yeah, he is a he's a muso. This kid loves everything. He's now obsessed with um, Frank Zappa. You
That's a
know, he's
good that's a
walking.
good person to be obsessed with.
Yes, he's walking around singing Florentine Polka.
Wow. He's really
Yes.
into it.
No, he is obsessed. He puts it. He comes home from school. We have a playlist. He tells us what he wants. We introduce stuff to him from every genre, and sometimes it sticks. Most of the time it sticks. Sometimes it doesn't. But on tour, my music partner John Diamond showed him the video of Ray White is so wild doing um, Florentine Polka, and he fell in love. He's obsessed.
Great band. Frank
Yeah.
had some of the best bands, boy, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and I love that Aiden, he noticed, he's like, these musicians are really great, Mom. I'm like, yeah, you're right on the money
He
there,
already
buddy.
knows. He already knows. That's
Yeah,
great.
he does know. And like my 6-year-old August, he's a little diva queen. I don't know what's gonna happen with him. He's been in dresses since 2. He's really gravitated towards musicals, Disney princesses. He prances around singing at the top of his lungs, and Aiden just scoffs at his taste in music.
Hey, to each his own, as they say.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Thomas Roof.
Yeah.
You started out with him a while ago, and you're back with him now.
I am back with Tom Roof. It's it's the devil but in the best way. Tom is a real music fan, but he gives artists a lot of freedom, and he's fair, and it's like it's a partnership at this point. We brainstorm. Well, he and Kevin, as my manager, they brainstorm together, and that's one thing that's great about Tom. He's not a my way or highway guy. Whether it's musically, my albums have always covered so many genres in one album, and he's always not only not complained about it, but he's appreciated and supported it. So he's got a machine going over there, and I plug right into it. So it's just, I tried it on my own. I was like, okay, dude, you win. I see how hard this is.
He's got a great ear. A lot of great artists have come through him.
He does. And, he really, he's got the passion for it, so I'm very grateful.
And you have a new live album that he just is released or is
Yes.
releasing live in
Yes,
Denmark.
that's right.
And that was, I read that was a special night for you.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know what you read, but it was just, it's a room I love in Denmark, and a lot of audience members came from different parts of Denmark and other parts of Europe. But, I didn't know what to expect. I thought, all right, I'll throw caution to the wind. We have one night to get this right. And I didn't have the highest expectations of it
But it
being,
clicked. When
and
I read it, it clicked that night.
it so clicked. And when we were done, I thought, damn, if that was like half as good as the show felt, I think we have a product, guys.
Yep, you do. It's great.
Thank you.
I'm gonna play some of it before I rebroadcast our interview. Play a little bit of it around the interview.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the support.
So tell me about a special place that you like to play when you go, either in Europe or over here.
Wow. Honestly, I have so many. Like, I know I'll think of one, and then every country or city, there's really always a gem there. I honestly, I don't even know if I can answer that without taking a lot of time. Like, even just going back to Germany, those were some of the very first rooms, other than some festivals and clubs I played in Finland. Uh, you know, going back to the place where they recorded this show, Rock Palace. I played there
Yep.
again, Bonn, Harmony in Bonn, Germany. And I remember, the night after my show at Harmony in Bonn, the next day, Joe Cocker was playing, and I had just made the movie with him. So I watched him, and we got to open up for his set, and then I got to watch him after. So, it's just, I feel like I have such special memories in most of the places that I've played, frequently.
What was he like, Joe?
So sweet. Just a really sweet, humble human.
That's great.
Yeah, really good guy.
Well, there's a place I like around here called the Spire Center. You played there.
I love the Spire Center. That's right. You're in that neck of the woods. I love the Spire. We've played there a couple of times.
It's
My
got
kids like going there.
it's got a great mojo. Surprisingly enough, being an
It,
old Methodist church, it's
yes,
got its own mojo. When you go in there, you go, "Wow, look at this."
it's pretty spectacular. Yeah, churches can be really cool. There's a couple I play in Norway. Um, I love mojos really.
Yeah, I walked in there. It was a while ago, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then when the band started playing and the sound in there, and I'm sitting on a pew listening
Right.
to a band, I'm going, "You got to be kidding me!"
It's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, and it's not that big of a place. That was the other
No,
fun part about it.
very intimate, but it does have the mojo. I completely agree with you. It's got
You
great vibes. My
you,
kids liked it. They thought it was haunted, and they loved it during the sound check.
they thought it was haunted. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So where do you see your career in the next couple of years?
It's a great question. I took a little hiatus, after the pandemic when the world of touring came to such a halt. I went back to graduate school and got a master's in educational theater and started my own program working with kids, and I love that. But there's nothing like being back on stage. And then I started touring again around 2022. We started just going back to Denmark, the countries that could sustain it. um, and we started going back to Denmark and Norway, a couple shows in Netherlands, and then festivals. And it reawakened that passion, and now being able to do it a little more on my own terms because I have to be selective with the kids, bringing them. I would ideally love to just keep building the momentum of going into the markets that the Northeast in the United States has been very kind to me over the years, and then these countries in Europe. If I could get back into the swing of that and have the kids tag along when it makes sense, I feel great. And then, do my other stuff when I'm at home to keep me floating, as you will.
Well, it's pretty funny. A lot of musicians I've talked to keep very busy, not with non-music stuff to keep busy, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be able to dip into a lot of different pools,
Yep.
especially when you have a family to feed. And I don't know that I could ever just work for an institution or a corporation, or it's just I've never had that life. And
Well,
even
it's
just
not your life, really.
it's not. I've been in a public school for a little bit, part time, just the school my kids attend, and it's very strange to me to have to answer to people.
Well, you never had to answer, right?
No, I mean, you have to have a work ethic, but you have
Right.
to answer to yourself.
Right.
Yeah. And I realize I prefer that. It comes with its own set of pressures. It's not a guaranteed income. There's no health insurance. You got to take care of all that stuff by yourself. But, at the same time, there's a freedom.
So, what do you learn from your kids now? Now that you have kids, and you didn't before when I last talked to you, what have you learned from that?
Well, I know where every amazing park and playground near any venue I play is. I felt like we had more of a playground park tour in Germany than just the clubs because, Germany's very, very park friendly. So we found some beautiful, magical places. But, when you see the world through like all the one thing that really changed for me when I started touring with even Aiden, who was like, by the time he was a year, we were on the road all the time in Europe. And sound check, that lull of downtime when the band is loading in and setting up and I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs reading. Now I've got a kid to take around and go explore with. So it's just, you just see the world through their eyes. You see new things
Yep.
because of them. And I like in Europe, they get to be on the same time zone. So as
Well,
me,
it must be fun to be able, a regular musician wouldn't be doing that, but you have the opportunity because your son is or sons both are with you to go and enjoy things that you wouldn't regularly do.
that's exactly right. And the days off, you got to have that plan. So it forces me to go to bed a little earlier on the road, which is it forces a healthier lifestyle on the road. Not that I ever had an unhealthy one, but when you're younger and you don't have kids, you might stay up a little late, drink a little more wine.
Yeah, why not, right?
I still like my wine, don't get me wrong, but my little
But
ones.
but that's good that the kids have changed how you look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's my little ones in here now.
the kids changed.
The kids changed. Is
See,
that right?
see that?
He just turned 6. He turned 6 on our last show of the tour in Switzerland, and they threw a little backstage party for him. We
Happy
invited him on.
birthday!
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Dana, how do people find out about you?
How do they? How should they?
How should they? How's that?
I would say YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. I do have a website, but I don't think anybody uses websites anymore.
I do. I use your website all the time.
Oh, good to know. All right. So DanaFuchs.com
Yeah.
or Dana Fuchs Official, I think is my Instagram.
Or Dana Fuchs' mommy.
Yeah, you need that website too, Dana.
I better do Dana Fuchs Mommy. That's a
Mommy.
great idea.
.com.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that good?
Yeah,
See what kids bring to the table?
Dana Fuchs Mommy. I'm gonna start one just for you.
And you could start one with that and promote what your kids are doing too.
That's a good idea.
Isn't
And
it?
I'm in my pajamas.
That's great, guys. Boy, both of you.
And I'm in my pajamas.
That's right. August came out and signed CDs with me on the tour.
See?
I
Yeah, and
signed
you
cards.
could promote that on the Mummy website that they're there to if they want your sons to sign your CDs for you.
I'm actually writing this down.
Are you really?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
I want to write something down.
Okay.
My name.
Well, Dana, I just want to say thank you very much for spending some time. I know how busy you are. I mean, trying to get you to do an interview was kind of interesting the last few weeks.
Sorry about that.
Well, it's not your fault. I mean, I understand, you're out on the road and you're over in Europe, which is, time-wise is whole different animal from over here.
It is that, and the fact that when we've gone to Norway and Denmark, we usually have a sitter traveling with us, like a tour nanny. But we didn't have that this time. We had some people that would sometimes meet at the shows, or the kids would just hang with someone from the club or our tour manager. But so I was pretty much on deck as a mom all day, and then doing the music all night.
Yeah, and thanks to Kevin for inter- interfering with me to make sure that everything went as planned.
I'll tell him; he'll be happy to hear that.
It
Yeah,
was great. He was great. I mean, he called me. I wasn't expecting to get a call from Germany, but I got one. And he
oh,
said,
that's great.
and he goes, "Is it okay if we can't really do the interview?" And he explained why. I said, "No problem." I
Yeah, he
said,
said this guy's so great. He was so understanding. Yeah, he appreciated that.
"Right." And I said to him, I said, "Tell her that we'll do it when you get back in the States. It's going to be easier. The time difference is not going to be an issue. And whenever she's able to, I mean, she's got a break coming. Why don't we do it during the break of her tour?
Yeah, that's great.
And he said, we'll figure it out. And then I got another email that you were ready to do it. And I said, you were going to do it the previous week. We were going to do it the previous week. I said, don't rush it. Just wait until she's ready.
Thank you, because that first couple of days back, whoa. It
Right.
was a
So
doozy. And my kids were still on break too, so.
So, and I told him, I do it on a Monday or a Wednesday afternoon, late afternoon, like 4 or 5 o'clock. And whenever is best for her. I don't want to interfere with her schedule. I know she's busy. And he said, we'll work it out. And that's when I got the email about doing it today.
Well, thank you. And Kevin will be happy that you were appreciative of that.
Well,
I'm
He
writing-
was as well.
Dana,
I'm
anytime
writing
you want to
everything
come
you
back
did.
on and do another interview when you're doing another release or anything, the new records come out, I'm open anytime.
That's amazing. Thank you. And I'll make sure Kevin knows that too. We are trying to plot out the next studio album with Tom Roof right now. So
I'm writing
that'd be
everything
great.
he
Hopefully it won't be
says.
that long from now.
Right, and then you'll have your mummy website up too.
Exactly.
Yeah, mommy
Dana Fuchs,
website.
mommy. I love it.
You see, he created that by
Okay.
himself.
And then you ran with some good tips. Thank you.
And I'm 6 years old.
There you go.
You little scoop.
And you're playing piano, I hear.
Yeah.
Good.
Listen,
And my brother plays the drummies.
Yeah, I heard.
you heard about Aiden.
Well, Dana, I'll let you get back. Thank you very much for everything.
And
Thank
he's
you.
9 years old.
You're welcome. And like I said, next time, you have something coming out and you want to promote it, let me know.
I sure will. Thank
Kevin
you
has
again.
Kevin has my phone number and my email.
Great. Yes, he does.
Okay?
You'll be hearing from him, no doubt. Thank you.
Thank
for
you,
that.
Dana.
All right. Take care.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.